That's a nice ladder you got there, Josh.
Dude, it's a little giant. It is a nice ladder. It's
Those things are nice.
dude, it is. It's quite the ladder, I gotta
Is that the one
say.
that you can like fold up and go tall? Or
Fold up, you could extend both sides. You could go like this. I mean, you could do a lot with this guy.
How
All
do you
right,
feel about this place in your life you're at where you're like literally getting hard over the brand of a ladder?
bro, we just got a new fridge. I am rock solid, dude. I am
Wanna make that paper, wanna make that dough. This is the affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper, wanna make that dough. This is
All right, I'm
the
going to kick us off here with a
affiliate
little
marketing
intro
show.
and we'll get going. What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. I am Josh from OfferVault.com, the industry-leading aggregator of affiliate networks and affiliate offers, all things affiliate marketing. Per usual, we also have the founder and CEO of Ringba, Adam Young, the industry's best call tracking platform. We have industry legend number one, Harrison Gevirtz, and we also have industry legend number two, maybe we'll call him 1A and 1B. We have Morgan Thomas, also known as HeavyT, who's been killing the affiliate marketing game since 2006. Is that right, Morgan?
Yep. 2006.
What's going on, man? Where are you talking to us from today?
So right now I live in Denver, Colorado. I've been here for about 10 years. Actually came out in 2013. So yeah, January 2013. It's been a little over 10 years.
Now, a new thing I've been doing recently is kind of quickly touching on how our guests met Adam and Harrison. And from speaking to you before the show, I know you've known Adam for about 6 years, but Harrison you've known for about 15 years, which is pretty
Oh yeah.
long time to know anybody. And let me first just say I'm sorry. That's tough. But I would
it's rough knowing me.
Yeah.
I would like to know, how did you meet Harrison? And you can also tell us about how you met Adam. But 15 years ago, how did you guys run into each other?
So I met Harrison from EWA when he worked over there. I mean, he was running around affiliate marketing conferences, like 16 years old with his black card, and we kind of hit it off. I joined EWA. Him and Brian were running that thing pretty hard, and I was just like one of their biggest affiliates, running their offers and stuff. And me and Harrison would be on Skype at
For
nighttime.
hours talking about
Hours.
inappropriate things. And I was
Very
like 15.
inappropriate things, and then his mom would walk in the bedroom and be like, "Hi,
That's real.
here's your dinner," and she'd bring it in, and he's like, "Okay, mom, I'm doing work stuff," She's like,
He's
"Okay, I know."
like, Mom, the meatloaf.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So kind of hit it off from there, and then met Adam through Harrison and Ringba, So it was going real great, and I've known him for 6 years now. After meeting at a conference and like hanging out and going to the parties that they're throwing.
I just have to say, when I knew you as a child, because I was a fucking child, you lived up to the name Heavy T, but you're not so heavy
Nope.
anymore, Mr. T.
So I used to weigh close to 400 pounds, and my mom had a stroke on a boat around Australia, and they life flighted her off, and I flew out there to see her, and I saw her in ICU, and I'm like, this is me. I'm like so freaking huge. I have high cholesterol, diabetes, blood pressure problems. So I decided to have stomach surgery over there in Australia, and unfortunately, the doctor didn't seal up the hole in my stomach when he cut 9/10 of it out, and everything I ate for a week leaked out into my abdomen, and I almost died. My body went septic. So I was hospitalized for 3 months in Australia over there. And then luckily, I was able to get back through an air ambulance that had 2 pilots and 2 nurses on. It was like a G5 or something like that. They flew me back home on. So it was a pretty insane story, and everybody was rooting for me back home.
Yeah.
Well,
Were you, oh, go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say it's great that you're doing well, and I want to dive right in here. So, how much money does Harrison owe you from EWA?
Actually, I've been paid. I've been
Fuck
paid.
you, Adam. Because I almost said when he mentioned Helium, I was like, and for the record, Morgan got paid.
I got paid. I got paid. They took care of me. When that whole thing went down and everything, I was still running offers and stuff with them, but it was really tragic what happened. But other than that, like I got my money, so I'm all good.
Good. And for the record, I know Harrison did work extra hard to get as many people paid as much money as they possibly could.
Yeah.
So, also,
I knew you were going there, Adam. I was like, this motherfucker.
Well, you were on stage at Pelican talking about the whole story, so I thought maybe it was appropriate now. It's like, it's been long enough we can actually talk about it. So I like it. By the way, you did a fantastic job at that trade show, Harrison. You gave the best presentation. I thought it was delivered really well. It was awesome content. I think it was really cool that you talked about EWA and some of the other things that you spoke about. So kudos to you there. And then Morgan, before we met, the first time I ever heard your name was after you got your Dodge Viper. And then 15 minutes later, you didn't have a Dodge Viper. So why don't you tell us about that?
I forgot about that.
I've never heard it from you. I just know this story.
Viper. So I had a layover in an airport, and I, of course, being a huge affiliate, I had stupid money to play with. And I saw a Dodge Viper for sale on eBay Motors. And I'm like, it's in Illinois. I could probably fly in and stay with Ryan Eagle and then pick it up the next day and drive it back to Pennsylvania. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up staying with Ryan overnight. And of course, Ryan was Ryan and doing his thing, came back home. I was there hanging out with my buddy and we went to go pick up the car the next morning. Unbeknownst to me, it had bald rear tires on it. And it was an RT10. So the back half of the car was all fiberglass. And when you start driving really fast, it kind of picks up a little bit. That's why they had the wing on the back of it. And it started raining, and I just ended up doing a 360 on a highway and slammed back into a guardrail. And the thing just blew apart. So good thing I put insurance on it before I started driving it. Smart thing. I made money on the deal, turned back around and bought another Viper, a 2000 GTS ACR racing Viper, and that thing fucking scared the shit out of me. It was so fast. Like it had aftermarket headers, had an aftermarket cam, it was chipped, like it had everything. And that thing, like I had it for probably 2 years and then I got rid of it.
Why'd you get rid of it?
I'm glad to hear that you're okay.
Yeah, I lived to tell about it. I got rid of it because I was becoming more frugal at the time. I was like, I had like 6 cars, I had an Escalade.
And 40 monitors.
40 monitors, yes, wall of monitors, that blog back in the day. Wow. That
was his OG blog, and he had pictures of like Adam, I've seen your computer setup at its peak. He had 40.
I had like 40. So each monitor was connected to a 1U server behind the wall. And I had like racks of servers. And then I had macros running on there submitting ads to MySpace back in the day. I was like one of the first guys to run male muscle and female diet with a 2-step combo on MySpace. And it was just insane.
Morgan, let's flex.
Pour one out for MySpace. I made a lot of money on MySpace, guys. I miss it. It was good.
Morgan, I'm just curious, what were the 6 cars that you had? You started, I heard Escalade, but then I didn't hear that.
I had Escalade, the Viper, a Corvette. I had a Honda Ridgeline that was on like 22s. I had an Acura MDX, and I had a Triumph Spitfire, a little tiny 4-speed drive manual gearbox, like convertible British racing cars, British Racing Blue.
Are you still rocking sports cars, or are you living a simpler life now?
Simpler life. I'm driving an Infiniti Q70S, just a nice little sporty 4-door. We take the dogs in it. Not as flashy anymore, especially out here in Colorado where the potholes are crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's jump right into the affiliate marketing now that we got all of that good stuff out of the way. So we're going to start a new segment, I hope, which is our viewer submitted questions. And please send your questions to josh@offervault.com. Anything you want us to discuss on the show related to internet marketing. It will help us with discussion topics, and it will help you get your questions answered. So the first viewer submitted question comes to us from Hans W. And it talks about products being promoted in the affiliate marketing space, and if people actually try the products before they promote them. That's basically paraphrasing a few paragraphs of what he sent us. But I'm curious, Morgan, in your time as an affiliate marketer, how many of the products that you promoted did you actually try out yourself? And is it bad if people don't? My assumption would be that most people don't. But if you ever did, how did you go about getting them? Did you not? What do you think?
So when I worked directly with advertisers, they would send me the products and stuff, because then I could, get UGC, user generated content, take pictures of it, try different creatives, things like that. I know when I did stuff at EWA, when a lot of the Nutra stuff first started, Harrison would be direct with a lot of advertisers, and he would send me out bottles of products and things that I was running. So it definitely helped there. But as an affiliate starting out, you might not always have those connections with your AM to where they can ship you some test products and stuff to play around with. They usually have creative and stuff already if it's a good advertiser. So I've done a little bit of both. It just depends on if I'm directly with the advertiser or not, or the network I'm going through is directly with the advertiser.
Harrison, did you typically get products when you were doing affiliate stuff back in the day? Or
I'm just going to be honest and say I didn't care. I just wanted to promote shit and get dollars. I think that there's a lot of affiliate marketers that are not media buying affiliates. They're not arbitraging, and they're more like influencer type affiliates. And that is more of a relevant approach, where like you're a huge Instagram star or whatever, and you get sent some gummies or something, and you take pictures with it and you try it out, and then you actually give your feedback, and then you drop an affiliate link in the description, and that's like, you're still an affiliate marketer there. It's just a different approach. But from what I've seen, like, I have a feeling that when Morgan received the bottles of acai berry, I sent him that he wasn't eating the pills, but he was just taking pictures of it for landing pages and stuff. And it's kind of the name of the game. But I like the question because, if you're making a review site, for example, then it's kind of relevant. Like if you have let's say you're doing like tactical products or survival gear or something, and I see an ad on my screen for something survivalish, so that's why it came to me. Maybe you buy, not buy. Sometimes you got to buy it. Maybe you just request a couple of the items and you do some reviews, and you're able to provide an honest review. Like, that's really cool. But I would say, like, I haven't done that really. But you could still promote a product just based on what you're given, what creatives and marketing materials you're given from that advertiser.
Adam, do you think it's? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, that I follow up on what Harrison said. That's more prevalent now than ever. Back when we were running stuff like that, social media influencers weren't really a thing unless you were
It didn't exist.
It didn't exist because you didn't really have Instagram. You didn't really have TikTok or Snapchat or whatever. So like those social media platforms that have come out of the past years, when it was the wild west is what I called it for us. Was very much different back then than it is now.
Adam, do you think there's an issue with people not actually getting the products? Is there any kind of ethical gray area, or would you say that's just kind of the name of the game with affiliate marketing, and there's just too much stuff to get your hands on everything you're promoting?
Well, I think that, a couple things with what you just said there. I think that it depends on the type of marketing that you're doing. You don't necessarily need the physical product, depending on what type of assets that the advertiser has available for you to use. For instance, if they have a whole bunch of photos of the product or video of the product or user-generated content that they'll let you use, you may not need the physical product. But I think where you can run into some issues if you're doing review sites or you're doing reviews and you haven't actually tested the product or really used the product. So today, to Morgan's point, I think it's very different than the type of marketing we would do 10 years ago, where for the most part, we weren't receiving any of these products. We weren't getting samples. We didn't really have a lot of materials to work with. We just kind of had to figure it out. But today, a lot of advertisers are providing those materials. And if they're not, you should absolutely request sample products from the advertiser. And if they won't give them to you, just buy them. Because there's
exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do creatives now. And what I've been seeing a lot of, and what some people have demonstrated to me at a few masterminds I've attended, is that you can actually do a screen recording of the checkout page. And so the ad is kind of like, hey, check out these cool things that I bought. They're amazing. And then shows the user using it. All you have to do is go to, click the link, go to this page, and then it'll do like a screen capture recording and scrolling of the checkout or filling out your information. And they literally in the voiceover tell people what to do. All you have to do is put in your shipping address and your billing information real quick, and shipping is free, and you click submit and you'll have your item in so many days. And I actually have seen some really interesting results and case studies based on actually showing not only the products, but what the checkout process looks like for an e-commerce product, because it gives people an expectation of how easy it's going to be for them to buy or what it looks like before they actually click the link. So it's like pre-framing the product and then showing the landing page. So they're pre-framing the landing page and then showing the checkout. So they're pre-framing the checkout. And so I think it's more important than ever to actually get the product into your hands, to test it, to understand the product, so that you can communicate appropriately to consumers.
Well, shout out to Hans W. for the viewer submitted question. Again, please send us your questions to josh@offervault.com. We would love to answer more of them on the show. Moving on to our first headline, and I know Adam is gonna like this one. Hippocratic AI raises $50 million to power the healthcare bot workforce. Now you might be thinking, what's Hippocratic AI? Why is that a big deal? Well, it is being run by the former CEO of Health IQ. And if you watched episode number 2, as well as some episodes recently, you'll know that we have some things to say about Health IQ. And let me just say, please get your own legal advice. We are hooligans. Don't listen to anything we say. I'm sure Adam might toss in like a disclaimer just to protect us even more. But Morgan, are you hip to the Health IQ situation at all? And if you are, one of the things I pulled out of this article real quick was just that one of the main investors of Hippocratic AI is a main investor from Health IQ. And I'm thinking, you must really like this guy. You must really believe in him, because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? If that's how it goes, I don't know. But Morgan, what
do you have no clue? I don't know.
Yeah, Morgan, what do you think about the whole Health IQ thing and this guy? There's actually a LinkedIn post we'll get into here in a second in some of the comments. But basically, this guy is being praised on Forbes for doing great work and starting this new startup and raising all this capital, and people are not happy that he's being painted in this light when he still owes millions of dollars to
tens of millions.
I know several companies that they owe, and they got literally they shut down after open enrollment and all that, and just screwed tons of people over with accounts payable and money that was owed. One company I know was like $800,000 was owed. Another one was like $2 million, and I'm sure there's tons more out there. But looking at the bigger picture, to me, this is like akin to the CEOs at banks, when they're running them into the ground and they close and then they get hired somewhere else to run another bank. It's just he's sidestepping into another vertical that he's taking care of. But the interesting thing is anybody can do what he's trying to do, and the bots can't actually give health advice to the people, but they can help by like writing code to where it goes, okay, these are your test results. This level is at a 5 and it should be between a 1 and a 2. What does this mean? And then it prompts them, would you like, the answer to that? And then stuff like that, and it could definitely help bridge the gap and save time with doctors so they could see more patients. But at the same time, it can't offer medical advice. So hearing that, I think it helps alleviate the healthcare industry, but at the same time, he needs to own up for his debts at Health IQ. That's owed. Is he going to do the same thing with this company? But I don't think even the writer knew what she was writing about, honestly. Just praising a guy, but not knowing
One thing
his
that
past.
intrigues me, and maybe you would know, Adam. So did this guy just like change his LinkedIn silently and say he doesn't work at Health IQ anymore, and then launch this new fucking thing, or like how did he somehow finagle his way into a new startup?
I mean, that was my question. How do you raise
like,
50 mil after this?
After one blow
after
up,
this dumpster fire? Yeah, like
how do you?
So
I have to give
there.
him props.
So let's go there. So how does this work? Well, investors love to invest in people who have already had a previous startup. Successful, failure, doesn't matter, because the way they look at it is they're more likely to have a win from someone who's been through the process, built a big organization before, and maybe ran into some issues than they are by taking a big bet on an entrepreneur that has never done it before. And so when they're looking at their risk calculation, they go, all right, well, this guy built a business, it got to 100 million in revenue or whatever. Yeah, it exploded, but maybe his next one will be that $1 billion unicorn that we're looking for. And they probably have a good relationship with him. And, maybe they're not fully aware of everything that happened under the hood. And I think the Forbes example is a great one, because Forbes literally puts him like on a cover shot saying that, he just raised all this money and he's going to change healthcare. And then the post gets a ton of comments from a lot of our customers, actually, and it was very disappointing to read them. And then the Forbes writer actually, what you don't see there is the Forbes writer actually followed up on all those comments and got stories from all the people that Health IQ owes money to that were willing to talk to them. So I do believe there's going to be a follow-up article on this situation, and there very well should be, because in my understanding of this, and I may be wrong, get your own information, they wrote the policies, and the Health IQ still has those policies. They're still being paid the residual on the policies, but they didn't pay the publishers for driving the traffic. And that's really it's despicable. It's a sick thing. It's not like they don't have the money to pay it, or maybe they could pay pennies on the dollar. I don't know, right? But they could pay some money. But as far as I'm aware, they're paying $0. So I don't think this story is going to end. I think this is really common for entrepreneurs to have failures and to get investment again. If I had to guess, just like the stories the entrepreneurs paint about how they're going to change the world and make it a better place, they probably painted an entirely different picture to the investors than the way the employees feel about it, or the people who they're owed money feel about it. And so it doesn't surprise me at all this happened this way. What does surprise me, though, is that it looks like we're going to see a follow-up article by Forbes talking about what actually happened. I think that in itself is the most unique thing. Yeah, the most unique thing about the situation, because generally these things happen and then no one follows up on it. They just gloss over the entire thing. But it looks like there may be a little bit of I don't know, public justice. I don't know if
there's going to be a lot of tea being spilt in that second article. But also to that fact, do you think there might be a class action lawsuit building?
Well, there already is a class action against Health IQ, but it's from the call center agents, the employees, that were not given proper, and this is my understanding of it, right? Like, you can read it to find the details, but my understanding is that they didn't file the proper notice, or they're better yet, let me change that. They've been accused of not filing the proper notice to the employees that they let go after AEP. I don't think that you'll see a class action on the publishing partners that are suing, because I don't think they're willing to band together. I think what's going to happen here is a bunch of them that are owed the bigger amounts will likely litigate. I'm aware of a few cases that are going on now, and they're going to try and get as much as they can out of it. And so they're probably unlikely to band together to share the proceeds of the lawsuit, because a lot of the people who are owed, my guess is, in the $100,000 to $400,000, $500,000 range, probably will not litigate, because if you're owed $100,000, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Yeah, $100,000 to try and get your $100,000, and if they don't have the money to fund it, you might get a judgment. They take it bankrupt. I don't know. And so I think you'll see lawsuits from the people who are owed a lot more money, and they very well should go after it.
Okay, because I do know that when you're past people who are on Jason, he does some tort stuff, and Ringba has a large customer base that was sending their calls over there. So, that is something to consider. Just little light bulb idea went off in my head. So,
yeah, as far as Ringba goes, like we don't have any exposure to the situation or any direct relationship there, so we couldn't really participate in anything like that. I do love our customers though, and I'm pretty upset about the situation, which is why we continue to talk about it on the pod and to spread the information as we have it. I think it's really important for our listeners who run traffic to really take a good look at their risk diversification. Just because you have that one amazing advertiser or buyer that you're crushing it with, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good thing, because if that company owes you a lot of money and they don't pay, it can literally smash your business. And
put you out of business.
Yeah, that's why it's super important to diversify your call flow. Or if you're an affiliate running CPA, you want multiple advertisers. If you're an affiliate running e-com, you don't want to just run an offer with one e-com advertiser. You want different offers with different people, so that your risk is diversified, so that if someone doesn't pay you, then you still have a business, right?
To run,
yes. Yeah. Even if the ARP revenue per call is higher, it's always good to send some traffic to some lower RPC buyers, just in case, so you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Mind-boggling to me how people like this can burn companies to the ground, leave a trail of destruction behind, and then just go off and start new ventures without consequences, like nothing happened. I'll spare you everything else, but I think that sums up everybody's comment on this feed.
Caveat that. Who said that? It wasn't us.
No, that was not us. That was, you want me to say?
No, but just that was a comment. Right?
Oh, that was a comment I read. That was not us. Please get your own legal advice.
This guy's litigious, dude, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, we have no opinions on this except that you should pay your bills.
Yeah. Comment number 2. Seriously, Forbes, do better. This company single-handedly wiped out many pay-per-call agencies by scam and non-payment, yet you celebrate him. This is very disappointing. I mean, these are just 2 of like 20 comments on this post that you guys watching can go and check out. But people are not happy. Let's just sum it up with that. And with that, let's move on to headline number 2, if you want to call it that. I think this is a little bit more noise than news. But Montana becomes the first state to ban TikTok. And doing a little more research, I saw this actually doesn't take effect until January of next year. I also saw that the president and some other people have banned federal government employees and devices from having this. That happened in December. So Harrison, do you think this is really news, or is this just a politician trying to flex on his personal
Seems
motives?
like a lot of fluff. First of all, they can ban it, but if it's on people's devices, then they can't really ban it. Like, it's already on their devices. What are they going to do? You can't.
Well, they're coming after like Google Play and the App Store. I guess they said, like, once this goes into effect, it's like $10,000 a day, I believe.
That's so much money to Google and Apple.
Yeah.
And is it per user? Hold on. Is it per user? And who's liable for the $10,000?
I'm looking that up right now. It says, according to the measure in Montana, platforms that offer the app on their marketplaces, such as Google Play and Apple App Store, will be subjected to fines up to $10,000 a day for violations. So I believe it's just the companies and their specific app store.
So yeah, this is just political fucking dick swinging.
Well, so it all comes back to China and the government spying. So,
well, I don't use TikTok, but I think that the whole ban TikTok thing is cute. Yeah. And it's so big.
Is there any water to the whole China spying on us through the app thing? Like, what do you guys think about all that?
Hold on, I want this one. So look, I don't think this is necessarily spying. I think this is more about the destruction of the mental capacity of our youth. And so the TikTok algorithm is by far one of the most incredible algorithms I have ever seen. It causes so much dopamine release in such a short period of time that it changes your brain chemistry. It's an unbelievable product. It's incredibly well built, and it is specifically designed to suck you into the phone and to make sure you don't leave it. Now, as an adult, I don't have it on my phone because I don't want anything to do with it. I understand the engineering behind what they did, and it is brilliant. That doesn't mean it's good. It just means that it's brilliantly done. You give this to a kid who has not fully formed their mental capacity, and that child is going to get dragged into this, and it's going to create an addiction just like anything else. Like any addiction is created by the dopamine releases and the habits from repetitively doing something that makes you feel safe or makes you feel loved or makes you feel happy. It gives you a little bit of dopamine release. And so you give this to children, and not only can they effectively put any sort of ideology in front of those children that they want by, just controlling what's in their newsfeed, but they can get them addicted to this technology. Now, the problem with the mini videos and the constant and rapidly changing visual information that the children see, or anyone for that matter, is it ruins their ability to focus because their attention span gets much lower and lower over time just by how the technology works. And so when you're constantly scrolling and seeing these seeing messages and videos that are specifically designed to engage with you on an individual level, like the algorithm is customized to the individual user's level to show them exactly what they want, to suck them in and keep them there. When you're just like constantly scrolling and going through that, and then you remove it and go back to normal life, all of that dopamine release and all of that that sort of attention-grabbing behavior disappears, and the volume gets turned down, and so they start to crave the TikTok. Like, it's, in my opinion, it's a psychological virus, and it's brilliant. I mean, it's incredible. I'm amazing. Like, they did such a kick-ass job. Yeah. But that's why, in my view, it's super dangerous, because if I were the Chinese government and I'm thinking 50 and 100 years out, not like our government, which is 4 years for the executive branch, right? Like, if I'm thinking 50 or 100 years out, I go, well, yeah, I want to push TikTok onto children in the United States. Yeah, I want them to see a whole bunch of ideology that disagrees with the U.S. government or disagrees with what the U.S. is trying to accomplish. And then let's completely destroy their kids' ability to pay attention, completely destroy their kids' ability to focus, and then get them addicted to this thing so that instead of doing their homework or paying attention in school or doing something that's productive,
just going like this.
Yeah, they're just sitting there scrolling and melting their fucking brain. It's almost like they figured out how to implant a virus in our children's heads without anyone actually paying attention. So I don't know. It's fucking wild. I don't even know what to say.
And on top of that, I actually got sucked in before this call for 20 minutes on TikTok. I was scrolling it and something came up, and then I dove into the account. I was just watching stuff, just flipping through. So it does do that. But like one of the biggest things that Montana's going to have a problem with is it's a free speech platform. People are uploading stuff that they're creating. So how can you ban a First Amendment activity?
Well, that brings me to the. I was going to say that brings me to the point that TikTok is going to challenge this in court as being unconstitutional. So, Morgan, do you think this ban is actually going to like stick?
I don't think it's going to stick at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand. I used to work for the government. I worked for NIH as one of the lead technicians for the pharmacy department, nuclear medicine and stuff. And those people had government phones. They had Blackberries, and they're just, getting on iPhones and stuff like that. And those things were locked down.
Shout out to BBM, by the way. That was the shit.
Oh yeah.
Morgan, let's unpack that real quick. What was that work experience like?
Oh, horrible. I found out how lazy people work at the government operate. It is so lazy. Like, one of the things we would do was we get new computers in from Dell and we image them using Ghost. I don't know if you remember Norton Ghost back in the day. So on a weekend, we'd walk around to the nursing floors and take the discs with us to re-image those machines physically. And I was like, why are we doing this? Why don't we just get a Norton Ghost server and then push the images out to the appropriate computers, and it can be done. And then you don't need 15 people walking around on the weekend checking to make sure it did its update. And I got yelled at by one of my coworkers. He's like, dude, that's job security. Shut up, be quiet, But over here, from my mindset, I'm thinking efficiency, you want to work smarter, not harder. So like I learned a lot about stuff there, and I realized, I was only there for like a year, but I realized I didn't want to work for the government ever again.
Well, speaking of your employment history, I think this is a great segue. I know you started as an affiliate, but I have some notes here. You went from an affiliate to a corporate media buyer to a director, as well as a head of different growth positions. And I'm wondering, what was that journey like? What were some of the struggles going from an affiliate to a director and everything like that? And what were some of the biggest things you took away from the transitions in between all of those different jobs?
So one of the hardest problems I found, the landscape was changing several years ago to where, no offense to EWA, but you had like networks that were supposed to float the money between advertisers and the network. Advertisers were paying that 30, affiliate networks were paying that 7 or even twice.
You're just a bank in that business model.
Yeah.
I know a lot about it.
But then it got to the point to where the advertisers would stop paying the networks, and then the networks would stop paying you. And it became easier to find advertisers that wanted to hire media buyers instead of going to a network, and you don't know how many times that offer is being brokered. So like working directly for the advertiser, you have more budget, you can bid higher on placements, and you could grab a bigger piece of the pie working for the advertiser. And I slowly transitioned over to that in the corporate world. But I found that in the corporate world, it moves a lot slower than our industry. I worked at a company where it took a month to place a pixel on the landing page. A month, and it's like, why is it taking so long when I can go in and do that myself? No, I had to take that, I had to send it to Dev. Dev had to look at it, see if there's anything wrong with it, and then put it in their schedule of when they were going to place it on the landing page. And it changed my whole perception, but also at the same time, it's a lot harder to find corporations that are willing to hire you because they do not know the affiliate industry and what kind of Swiss Army knives we are when they're looking for someone who just knows Facebook. So they're looking for a broad axe, not a Swiss Army, And shout out to Mike Carney, one of my best friends, who's a headhunter at performance marketing jobs.com.
Bro, Mike Carney is the man that got me this
He's the
job.
GOAT.
He got me
my
gig at OfferVault 7 years ago. Well, I should say he got me the interview, right?
He introduced me to ChatGPT for our replacement host.
Dude, that's amazing.
I had to do it.
So like he's been amazing for me because he bridges the gap between going on a LinkedIn post where you fit the job description perfectly, but so many people apply that aren't qualified. They have to weed through all that to get to you. They're just looking at the salary that's like 150K and it says 400 applications, you know? So he helps bridge that gap with some of the employers that I've had in the past that are on my resume and not on my resume and gotten me those jobs because he's able to accurately communicate what the person's ability is and that you need that person and you shouldn't be looking anywhere else.
You know, I have a question that I think would be good for all three of you guys. We can start with you, Morgan, but with all your different, you know, all your time in the industry and the different jobs and positions you've held, what do you think is like the most valuable skill set you would tell like someone in the internet marketing space who's maybe just getting started and they want to try and really strengthen a particular focus in this field? What do you think would be the best ROI in terms of investment in themselves in terms of looking for a new job in this industry?
I would say one of the things that you would want to learn is to become self-sufficient at certain things. You know, there's so many resources that are available online in order to learn tools, programs, whatever. I taught myself video editing, Final Cut Pro. I taught myself Photoshop, you know, even learning HPL and some code in JavaScript. There's all free things that are available. And instead of spending time, I'm going to go home, you know, after my boring day job and I'm going to play Xbox, why not flip open the laptop and go to YouTube and learn things about new software, you know? Things that would help you do your job better, because the more that you can do for an employer, the more and more you become irreplaceable. You become more of a value to them, and they'll keep you, and they'll want to either promote you or give you a raise or continue on or have you manage people and teach them the things that you've learned. And that's kind of been some of the situations that I've been in.
I feel like Adam and Harrison would probably say the same exact thing. Maybe. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I would totally agree with Morgan. In fact, same story. I can use Photoshop, Illustrator, Final Cut, Camtasia, you know, whatever computer software. I generally can figure it out. If I can't, I'll do exactly that. I'll go to YouTube, I'll watch a video, I'll figure out how to do it, because it's one thing to have contractors do everything. And granted, at Ringba, we have a ton of people who are really highly skilled at all sorts of stuff. Like, shout out to my boy Greg, who's our, you know, video production guy. But, you know, if he's busy, I'm not going to have him do something simple. And if you can do it yourself, sometimes it's faster to just do it yourself than it is to write up the specifications and send it to somebody else. And I think it's really important for people in our industry to be a polymath, to have lots of different skills and lots of different abilities so that they can adapt to the marketplace. And what's interesting about this, I'll just give you a quick one here, Josh, is I was appointed to the planning commission where I live and the city where I live. And I didn't really know that much about reading plans. And I didn't know that much about construction design and ordinances or any of this stuff. It seems pretty boring, right? So the first place I went was YouTube, and I watched 6 hours of videos, maybe even more, on how to read residential construction drawings, permitting, how to do inspections, how to read commercial drawings, mechanical drawings, how HVAC systems get assembled, how to read a topographical survey, how to work with, you know, city governments and what the bases are for ordinance design and city planning. And like, I literally just watched YouTube for 6 hours, and I go to the meeting and I understand all the things and I get to participate. And It's really that simple. And so I don't think people have excuses anymore when they can't figure out how to make money or get a job or whatever. I think it's either put forth the initiative or don't. Because if you go to an interview and the interview is for anything, and you have gone through 12 hours worth of amazing training on that, you can literally start to ask questions in the interview and talk about the things you want to learn and tell them what you do know and what you don't know and what you want to get better at. And that interview right there is going to be better than like 98% of them that we're going to see. And so all it really takes is a little bit of initiative to be successful in any industry. But in the affiliate industry, you need a lot of initiative. You need a lot of these skill sets. And for instance, our marketing people, they understand JSON and basic code. They use a lot of different tools. Our engineering and support teams all know how to write code and use tons of different tools. I can write code. Harrison can even read JSON. I mean, I like at this point, if you're not sharpening all sorts of different skills and you're in the internet industry, you're going to have a problem. And by skills, I don't mean like, oh, I can do prompting on Chat GPT. Like that's not real. Like that's not a real career. Okay. Like you need the ability to understand how to use the tools so that when automation comes, you understand how the automation is working and how to make it better and have the experience to really design and problem solve and create. And so I really think that it's just so important to spend time every single day educating yourself on something new. Can be anything, right? Like maybe you're a developer, but you like landscape design. Cool, right? Like doesn't matter, but as long as you're learning something new and having a new skill every day, it starts to compound really, really quickly. And if you can give up like an hour of Netflix a day and do an hour of like YouTube training on civil engineering for a year, like you literally can change your life. And I don't think people realize that. It's just they gotta, get out of their habits and just start to fall in love with learning.
Harrison, you got anything to add to that?
Well, firstly, I will say that I can barely tie my shoes, so I am not the best example of this, but I still always try to learn something new every day. It's actually something that I say often in conversation is no matter what, I try to learn something new every day.
What's your t-shirt say?
It says 1% better every day. And I love this. It's one of my favorite quotes actually, and it's so relevant to the question. I didn't even think about it. If you can be better every day in any way, shape, or form, like you're gonna improve. It can be in a personal way, it can be in a business or in your career. It just, if you try and strive to be better every day, you're gonna see growth, personally, professionally, physically, whatever it may be. And that's I think it's a really important way to live your life. I would say that I'm less of a polymath and more of a monomath, where I have my skills that I'm really good at and get really focused and drilled in on, and then I crush it there. I have less of like a tool set mentality, and that's just kind of how my brain works. But at the same time, if someone throws me something and tells me to figure it out, I'm gonna figure it out.
Morgan, let's stick with the employment topic. And, I'm only bringing this up because you said you wanted to talk about it. And I think it'd be really good for our viewers to hear your point of view. But I know you've been looking for work for about the past 12 months. So, I'm curious what your take is on how someone with so much experience like yourself is having a hard time finding, a steady gig in this industry. What do you think that's related to right now?
So I think with the shift in economy and stuff, there's been a lot of layoffs. So there's been a lot of qualified people there on the market, but they're also desperate. I know what I'm worth. I've had job offers that I could have taken, but they're only wanting you to pay like $60,000, $50,000, stuff like that, with no bonus or comp. And for someone at the level that I am with over 20 years of experience, had been a manager, project manager, overseeing people and teams, they're trying to prey on that in the current economy, and it's annoying. So some of the places have even offered me close to $100,000, but I look at the bills that I have to pay, my overhead on how much things cost near me. In Denver, it's a lot of money to live here. Like the housing market is insane. Renters market is insane. So you have to take that into consideration when you're applying for a job. You got to figure out, okay, what's the minimum amount that I need to make in order to pay all my bills every month and not save anything? And then you go from there. You know, there are a lot of places hiring, but they don't want to pay people what they're worth. And people take those jobs because they don't have any other choice.
So let's play a little game here. In an ideal world, right? Because the world is watching this show, obviously. Yeah. So what is your next dream job? What would you like to be doing for that person out there watching who might reach out to you right after this episode?
I would like to work at a place that has company values to where they care about the employees, not only the bottom line. To have a culture at a place, whether it's remote or not, is one of the biggest things for morale. Now, I'm the type of person where I don't clock out at 5 o'clock. I'm checking campaigns. I'm doing stuff at 9 o'clock at night while I'm watching TV, you know, because that's been my mentality since the beginning. That's what I trained myself to do. Other people might not be like that, but to be able to manage people, teach them what you know, and being a boss isn't only just delegating tasks. It's being a mentor, it's being a therapist, it's being a friend, and it's also noticing, people's behaviors and going, okay, what's up with them this week? Something's wrong, and talk to them about it because you don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So to figure that out, some people have bad weeks, some people have bad months. So you have to play therapist sometimes to that. It could be money problems, it could be family problems, but you don't know. So if you get to know that person, whether they're under you or a coworker, you can better understand their situation and help them do better at their job if they ask for it.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. We talk about culture on this podcast all the time, and I think the consistent theme is that is really more important than what the actual business is doing, right? Obviously that's a factor, but I think being happy in a good work environment is super important as well. I know you also you help out, I should say, as a moderator with Stack That Money, also known as STM. And my question related to the industry as a whole, or what are some of the most popular topics that you consistently see being discussed on the forum?
A lot of it, I was a mod a long time ago. I'm not so much anymore, but I was, for several years. And, the topics as of late are getting more into, different traffic platforms, how to take advantage of that. If you think about the whole landscape, we had MySpace that we discussed, that was one of the first social media platforms. And then people of a certain age who were in college and stuff jumped off Facebook, and now they're at a certain age, but they still have their Facebook. Then it was Snapchat, and Instagram, and those people who were using those platforms are getting older. And then TikTok came out, and it was teenagers who were using it in high school. And now that's moved on, and they're in their early to mid 20s now. So to be able to take control of those traffic sources and market what you need to do, a lot of topics on there right now are about that. It's not so much native anymore because there's so much information, but also at the same time, those traffic sources have changed over the years since the follow-alongs have been written that are in there. But you can still read through them and grab basic concepts in order to understand if you want to try a new traffic source.
And obviously, there's a ton of posts about people just being like, yo, Ringba's taking over the game right now, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about that, right?
Every other post on STM. I think one thing that, just to a point that Morgan made, I think the most interesting thing that I've seen in terms of traffic source options across the world is just the consolidation. Think about an affiliate summit 10 years ago. Half of the exhibitors were traffic sources. Now it's no traffic source. It's maybe one or two native networks, maybe a pop network, some domain redirect traffic, but just the options, there's just such a consolidation in that industry. And, some people probably struggled with that because now you got to go use the big guys, and the big guys are not necessarily the easiest place to work. But
and add to that, the newest one. So there used to be Verizon Media, which handled MSN, AOL, ATT, Yahoo, handled all their placements, all their native placements, all their banner placements, everything. Now that doesn't exist anymore, and Taboola's taken that over. So in order to get to those traffic sources, because if someone has an AOL address, they're a boomer, they're older, right? Because like I'm 42, I had an AOL address. I used to have AOL Messenger. Now AOL Messenger doesn't even exist anymore. But to get to those
Rest in
patients
peace.
now,
I know.
Rest in
I
peace.
miss it.
It was the best.
It's a recurring theme on this show.
I was on a phone call
we love to
last
talk
week,
about AIM.
And my friend mentioned AIM. So then like the next day when we were on the call, I went to YouTube and I played the AOL message noise from YouTube. And he goes, dude, what the fuck, is AIM back? And I was like, no, I just messed with you. I got the sound effects on YouTube.
Oh my God.
I gave him like PTSD. He was like, wait, is AIM back? And I'm like, I wish, dude.
Dude, it was the best. But
speaking of AIM, Morgan, what was your handle on AIM back in the day?
So when I first went to college, my email address was the first 3 letters of my last name, first 3 letters of my first name, and the last 2 digits of my social security number. So it was THOMOR25.
Dude, I knew it was Thomor. I just didn't remember the numbers. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's THOMR in my head. I was like, Thomor, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So like with this now, like in order to advertise products that would be for people who own homes, who are retiring, starting Medicare, stuff like that, you're going to now have to get on Taboola to access those placements for native and banners and stuff. And I think it's a great thing because Taboola has been doing great with their market share, and it's getting a lot bigger. So.
Well, Morgan, I just want to say thanks for coming on the show. We still had some topics we didn't get to, but that just means we're going to have you back. You're a fantastic guest. For myself, Josh from OfferVault.com, Adam, the CEO and founder of Ringba, industry legend 1B, Harrison Gevirtz, and industry legend 1A, Morgan Thomas, HeavyT. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you guys next time.